Speaker of the House, Jeff Hickman. Speaker Hickman serves as the representative for District 58, serving Alfalfa, Major, Woods, and Northeast Woodward counties. He has served as the Speaker Pro Temp from 2010 to 2012 and served as the Chairman of Public Safety, Appropriations, and the Budget Committee. He has also served as a member on the Appropriations and Budget Committee, Energy and Aerospace, and Agriculture and Wildlife Committees. Thank you for being with us this morning, Speaker Hickman.
Good morning. Did you have a fun reception? I was so excited that you all were having a reception at the Aloft Hotel last night because I've never been there. Everybody wanted to see it, and then we worked till after 10 o'clock last night, so we didn't get to come by. But glad you're here. It's good to see people, particularly on deadline week when things get really crazy. You picked a great week to come to the Capitol if you want to see what's really going on, because this is when the rubber meets the road, so to speak, with House bills having to be out of the House this week and Senate bills having to be out of the Senate. So it's long days and usually high tempers. We only had to have the troopers escort a few people out of the building yesterday that physically attacked a couple of members as they were leaving the chamber. So that's good news. But they were some of the feral hog hunters that were here yesterday. So it was literally a wild hog kind of day around the Capitol. We started the day with the feral hog bill that some of you may have heard about. It's always interesting the things that you read about in the media, or you hear on the radio, issues that may be very important to one legislator, and the people in other districts think, well, that's just crazy. Why would a legislator, who are these people that are filing these kind of bills? And they were talking about on the radio about this hog bill. They had no idea what it did, but they just thought it was crazy, and it's a bill the Senate will just kill because it's just crazy that they're having a hog bill at the Capitol. Having no idea how important the feral hog issue is in rural Oklahoma, and how they're literally taking over the landscape, tearing things up. They're dangerous. But the folks in the city and the media had no idea why you'd spend time on such an issue. The legislature just crazy would file something about hogs. But we started the day with that bill yesterday at 10 o'clock and we finished it at 2. So it took us 4 hours to do one bill. And then we did 38 other bills from 2 o'clock to 10 o'clock last night. So the pace really picked up. But as you all know, just on the feral hog issue, they're literally taking over, and in places you never have seen them before. And so there was legislation that actually did not pass yesterday. We may reconsider that bill again later, today or tomorrow. But it says that if you're going to trap feral hogs and move them around the state to put them on your hunting area or release them in your area so you can hunt them there, which all kinds of problems, as you all know, hogs are very susceptible to disease and all kinds of other issues. But if you're going to do that, you have to tag them and you have to blood test them, which is kind of a nice way to say, you're probably not going to do it, because I'm not going to blood test a wild hog. I don't want to get that close to one, frankly. But that's the issue. If you're going to move them around, you need to know that they're disease-free, and you need to know where they came from. And so all of those folks that are against that want to be able to move these around and release them so they can hunt them were there to protest. And then we did have one of them grab a hold of the legislator carrying the bill as he left the chamber at the lunch break and spun him around and a little issue there. And so the troopers got to come up and spend a little time with us on the 4th floor yesterday. So a lot going on, a lot of issues, and that's why I'm really glad you're here. And I think it's important for people around the state to know what's really going on at the Capitol, not just to take what you read on, particularly on social media, which is absolutely probably the worst place to get news and information that's accurate. You can get a lot of information, not always accurate. So it's good to have lots of different sources and verify one against the other to determine what's really going on. But social media has drastically changed the way we all get and consume information and act on information. And there are no editors, there are no fact checkers like there used to be in the old days when we all got our information from the same 1 or 2 newspapers and the same 3 television networks. The world has changed dramatically, and it's had a big impact on how people react to what's going on at the Capitol. So I'm glad you're here to spend some time at the Capitol. Hopefully you'll have a chance to go by today. Wear a hard hat just in case. I mean, the building is literally crumbling down around us, but we're starting the journey to fix the Capitol, and I apologize for the condition of it. It's been decades of neglect that's gotten it in the position it's in, but we are starting the journey. The bids have been awarded for both the exterior work and the interior work, And so that will be starting very soon, and it will be a long process. We're not going to move out of the Capitol, or the legislature's not going to move out of the Capitol. Not a lot of places you can go hold session and have all the software and the voting buttons and the microphones and all that to just move out and have session somewhere else. And so we'll be they'll be working in our area when we're not in session, and restoring the Capitol building there. But already starting to find some things that we didn't realize we would find, and probably that cost will go up. We initially approved a $120 million bond issue to start the journey, and so that's underway. So. Anyway, I hope you get a chance to stop by the Capitol today and visit with different legislators that are working on different pieces of legislation, different committee chairmen that may have jurisdiction over the areas that you're interested in. I know I saw Dr. Ritz as I was leaving. He said he had a chance to visit with you this morning, and I think he's got a meeting with Candace to solve all of the problems. And I'm sure you all didn't talk Medicaid expansion. I think you probably have very differing views on that, but you can get to that. If you get through the other problems taken care of, you can have that visit with him as well. But I'd encourage you to stop by and have those visits and get to know those legislators. Particularly, we have a lot of new legislators, some from our part of the state. Representative Chad Caldwell from Enid's, a new Northwest Oklahoma legislator. John Piper from Mulhall is a new Northwest Oklahoma legislator, represents part of Garfield County, and then east and south from there. But a lot of new people that will be here after I'm gone in less than 2 years, and those of us that term limit out. And so a good chance to hopefully build some relationships with those that are going to be here, and to ask questions. There's a lot of legislation that hasn't been scheduled for a hearing. You're still hearing about. I'm still getting emails about vote yes for this bill or that bill. The bill's not even on the agenda this week, or the bill died in committee, or it's not being considered. And so be sure and keep track of those issues, and know not only what you're for and if it's still alive, but if there are things that you were concerned about that went away 2 or 3 weeks ago, that you don't need to waste your time or legislators' time talking about those issues as well. But important to be here and to build those relationships, and to visit with the folks in the Capitol building, even those that don't represent the specific district that you might reside in or work in, but people that have jurisdiction over the issues that are important to you. And so that's why I'm really glad you're here. We used to do a Woods County or an Alva breakfast years ago, and then it got where we didn't have a lot of legislators that were attending, and we used to have the quail hunt. It got where we didn't have any quail, which made it a little hard to have a quail hunt. But there used to be some things that we did a decade ago to bring legislators to Northwest Oklahoma to have this connection. So I'm pleased that you all are here. I hope as you look back on today, if you have suggestions or ideas about things that would be beneficial, things that would work, ways that we can continue to put Northwest Oklahoma's issues in front of our state officials, that you'll let us know, let me know, Alex, Steve, others that are involved in this event. If there are different things that we can do, or ways that we can just make sure people know where Northwest Oklahoma is, and they do right now, because the Speaker of the House is from Northwest Oklahoma, so we can have a seat at the table. But in 15 months, the gavel will drop for the last time for me, and we'll be electing a new House member. And so anything we can do to make sure that the folks at the Capitol know we're there, and know the challenges that we face, I think is important. We're really kind of an independent lot in Northwest Oklahoma, as you all know. We don't often, as individuals, even like to ask for help. We've kind of always elected Republicans, and the Democrats really until the last few years have been in charge of state government, and so we didn't really have anybody even in the majority party, and so there wasn't a lot of things that happened from state government in Northwest Oklahoma, just because we weren't in the room. But that's kind of our nature, is we don't really ask for things. We don't really ask for help. We just take care of problems on our own, which is something that I'm very proud about Northwest Oklahoma too, but we've just kind of gotten used to it, the way things have operated. And so I would sure encourage us to be involved in the discussion where we have opportunities. But I'm really proud of the fact that Northwest Oklahoma has always just kind of made it work over the years, and I think it's in large part in credit to the people that are just very independent in Northwest Oklahoma. We don't show up at the doorstep of the Capitol asking for much very often, which is important when folks from Northwest Oklahoma do show up at the Capitol, that I think people listen and pay attention and care about our issues. So I'll be happy to answer any questions. If you have questions about any bills or anything going on at the Capitol or any other issues we're working for, please come by the office if you get a chance to come to the Capitol. Stop by the office and say hello, or pop your head in today. Or if you need anything, let us know. Leah Laird is my assistant. She's a Settle from Carmen and Tacoma and Woodward originally. She graduated at Woodward, but her parents are from Tacoma and Carmen, and so she's a Northwest Oklahoma person. And then Jordan Russell is my policy director, who grew up in Freedom. His grandparents had the bank in Freedom for many years, and his dad's on your board, I think, isn't he? And his dad's on the Northwest Tech Center board. And stop in and say hi if you get a chance. If anything they can help you with, obviously being from Northwest Oklahoma, they're very interested in and know. They know where Capron is or where Greensburg is or those kind of things too, which is nice to have somebody in the speaker's office that knows those things. So if they can help with anything, please stop and let us know. Working through the budget issue, we're having additional budget hearings. There's not so much press on 2 or 3 different bills, most of which will never go anywhere, but the media loves to sensationalize those issues that get people stirred up, and so those things make the paper. But there's hundreds of bills that are very important that don't get a lot of attention. Lots of work on the budget going on behind the scenes or in budget hearings that don't get much attention right now, as we're in the deadline on legislation in the House. But a lot of work that's going into that as we work through the budget issues, tax credits, incentives, earmarks, off the top money, all of those things that are affecting our budget. Last year we had record revenue as a state, more money than we've ever collected, and yet we were taking a couple $100 million out of the part that goes into the state budget that the legislature builds. Even though there's more money going to state entities than ever before, it was going outside the budget process through earmarks and direct appropriations. And so we're scrubbing all of that. Same thing this year. Economy's still strong, revenues are still good, not where we once were before the oil price dropped and our income tax revenue from all the layoffs started declining. When you have several thousand people that are laid off that were paying income tax and they're suddenly not, that has an impact. Ironically, the natural gas price more than the oil price is having an impact on our current budget. The oil price had been projected to drop, and our budget has been based on oil in the $50 to $60 range, but natural gas had been based around $4, and it's been closer to $2. So it's really natural gas being half of what was estimated that's really caused a bigger issue in our current budget year as well. So it's interesting the things that affected us, and it really has been the layoffs and the lack of income tax paid by the people that were laid off, and the natural gas price. So hopefully those things rebound. We all know how important that is to Northwest Oklahoma and how dramatic it's been to our economy, how great it's been for the hotel business in Alva, Oklahoma, and other things as well. But hopefully we're headed in a positive direction. But nobody knows, and nobody can predict that. If I could predict commodity prices, I probably would have sold my wheat at harvest instead of waiting towards the end of the year when the price dropped a couple of dollars a bushel. But it's a manageable issue. We've got a rainy day fund that is full. We have over $1 billion in revolving funds at agencies across the state that they have to draw on. And again, some issues that we need to address on tax credits, incentives, exemptions, those kind of things. So a manageable problem, less than the 10% if you just did a cut, which we won't do. We'll backfill some of that, but a manageable problem that I think we can work through. Any questions on anything that's going on at the Capitol at all? You got them up early this morning.
I did.
Need
Late
more
night,
coffee?
early morning, yeah.
Were you all still at the reception at 10? Could I have come by at 11 when I left the Capitol?
No, we ended at 9.
Okay, well, I just missed it. No questions? That's easy. Well,
we do have, I don't know if you know, and Steve may have shared that with you, excuse me, we have the Leadership Northwest Oklahoma class with us here today, and they'll, I think, are meeting with you probably later.
Yeah, I think they're going to use the conference room. Are you using my conference room for your sessions today? So they'll be in the speaker's office in the conference room for their meetings today. I think that'll be very exciting. Two other things. One, I guess everybody's just staying down for the state basketball tournament later this week, so that's exciting. And gold is kind of an Alva color, so there'll probably be a gold ball headed back to Alva by the end of the day Saturday. I would anticipate. It's been so fun to watch those girls play this year. I think I've seen I've seen just the tournaments and other games. I think I've seen the Alva girls play more than any other team in Oklahoma, college, high school, at any level. Just happened to work out that way. And I haven't gotten to see very many games. I may have seen more of Austin's games. He had 2 or 3 games this year, but it's been so much fun to watch their success this year, and excited about that. And then someone alluded to, I don't know if it was David or Alex, someone alluded to the choral crew from the University Singers from Northwestern. They will be back next week when they get back from New York. I've had several people with the Oklahoma Youth Expo, including Bob Funk and Jimmy Harrell and Tyler Norvell and others that are at the Speakers Ball, and saw them perform, and they are so excited that they're coming to the Oklahoma Youth Expo to perform. I think is it the premium sale? Is that where they're performing? Yeah, maybe at the premium sale. And that's very exciting. I was so proud to have them at the Speakers Ball a few weeks ago, and they just did a wonderful job. I had never heard the national anthem performed the way they performed. And several people commented, legislators and others, and it'll just come up over the last few weeks of just the way they can make the hair stand up on the back of your neck when they sing, particularly the national anthem. It was just incredible, and the state song when they sang Oklahoma, and just was really proud to have them part of the program a couple of weeks ago, and they represent our part of the state so well. I'm just really proud of what they're doing, and thanks to Northwestern for sharing them with us and to be part of that fun evening. And thanks to those of you that were part of that with us. So, good night to highlight Northwest Oklahoma with Gary England being a Sealing boy and being the MC, and Todd Lamb, the Lieutenant Governor from Enid. And I think it really just gave us a chance to highlight Northwest Oklahoma, and we ought to get to do that once every 100 years. It's really kind of our turn once every 100 years, something like that. So it really was a fun evening. Well, I'll get out of the way and head back up to the Capitol. The House goes into session at 9:45. I'm not sure what time the Senate. They're kind of part-time folks, so they probably go in late. They quit about 6, I think, 5 or 6 last night. But they supposedly, I think, are going to have an evening session, which is something kind of rare for the Senate. But I think they'll have an evening session tonight, perhaps, if you can't sleep or you're bored or just want to hang around. But we'll be in session probably long days the rest of this week. But please feel free to stop by if you make it up there. I'd love to see you at the Capitol. If we can help anything up there, let us know. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Speaker. Just a couple housekeeping things. There will be no community coffee for the month of March, but we will have a legislative breakfast April 17th at Northwestern. And so mark your calendars for that. Backtracking, March 23rd, the Northwest Oklahoma Alliance will host their legislative reception at the Oklahoma History Center, and that's on a Monday evening, so please make plans to attend. Steve, do you have anything else?
I need the leadership class to begin making their way to the Capitol, and we will gather in the 4th floor rotunda. Our first session is at 9:15.
Thank you. On behalf of the Alva Chamber and board and staff, thank you for joining us this morning, and please have a safe trip home. Thank you.